I'm very pink. I know. Like I need the light in here sucks. So
You
like
need some of my green today because you forgot it. So
whatever. I don't have anything to grab that's green. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Dana.
there you go. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. David Huffaker here with the amazing Dana Hutton, bringing you local market updates and market trends on what's going on in Wilson County and surrounding counties. What's up, Dana? How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for calling me out on not having anything green. I did not even trigger that St. Patrick's Day was today. So happy St.
Yes,
Patrick's
yes.
Day.
Well, I guess your kids always wear green just concerning the school they go to. So you probably didn't know any different, but
Yeah,
I
they're on
was going
spring
around
break.
trying to pinch on my kids this morning.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, they're on spring break. They're all still asleep when we left the house. So,
And your audio is a
love
little
it.
off, David, just so.
How about now? Is that better?
Yes, you're good.
All right. How about we stick it there? That work. All
Great.
right. We're going to go with it that way so everyone can not hear the ruffling of my shirt. Thank you for that.
Yes, yes.
All right. So we're talking about local market updates and what's going on in the real estate market. It is currently, obviously, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So, Dana, what are you seeing in the market? We've kind of noticed. I want to talk a little bit today about the impact of the war in Iran, the impact of what interest rates are doing, just the overall impact of the spring selling season. So what are you
Hmm.
seeing overall in the activities on the listings that you're carrying in the
Yeah,
team's
yeah,
business?
no. Great question. I would say, this is the time of year. I know we've been saying that for the last several weeks. Things are starting to pick up. Spring is sprung, even though it feels a little cold outside today. The sun is shining. Showings are happening, both from the listing side of things with buyers coming in. I'm seeing all different price points and price thresholds. In addition, buyers are out there, shopping. So, sellers are getting ready. They're prepping homes, with the intention of listing, in April, May. I always suggest as a seller, in this specific area, don't, if you can, list prior to Memorial Day, because those people that are looking to make a hop, which we typically see, especially in Wilson County, kind of those counties outside of Davidson County, if they have kiddos, sometimes they're making a hop for, different schools, and that type of thing. And so they're already shopping, they're looking now. If not, they'll be looking in April and May. So get your home on the market prior to then.
Yeah, I think one of the dominant themes that people have to really pay attention to if you're analytical or looking at the data is that the average first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. And that will
Crazy.
go back down. I was telling
Yeah.
my 19-year-old that the other day, and he was like, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. And I'm like, it will change. But right now,
Yes.
interest rates still being slightly elevated and home prices, affordability still being an issue. We have to look at who are the demographics that are moving. And that really dictates, if you see the biggest portion of people that are moving right now are going to kind of be the upper end of the market. So with that, we do see more seasonal impact when it comes to when the children get out of school, when we leave on
Hmm.
vacation for the summers. Honestly, Dana, families like you and me that we see in our communities moving, at least for our company, the portion of buyers that are buying and selling, it's not necessarily the 20 somethingers or the 30-year-olds that are buying that are less likely to be impacted by quote unquote a summer break or spring breaks or fall breaks. Really
Hmm.
seeing that right now, we do see the seasonal flow of home sales really impacted by right now. Like I
Right.
said, my kids are on spring break. We were on spring break last, so we got 2 weeks. Wilson County was last week. Rutherford County, I think, is next week. So as we see that, right, you see that the tail light migration down to 30A, which the state pretty much empties out, and it does it impacts the sales.
Yeah, it
Then you get
does.
hit with Easter weekend, which you'll see a dip following that. So when you're thinking about when to list your home, we know that a big bulk of the market is going to take the early June because when everybody has some free time there to go to the beach or to go on a vacation or go to the mountain wherever they're going. And so you'll see that lull play out in July
Hmm.
closings. It happens every
Right.
year. Just right now, you see it a little bit more, right? As you're kind of seeing
Yeah.
who's moving. So, are you seeing more of your clients, wanting to get their home on the market sooner rather than later, or what's the strategy right now?
They're actually seeking, our guidance for that, and so I kind of tell the stories of over the years. I even remember years ago, somebody that was delayed in getting their home on the market, and I'm like, we don't want to, go over into June if at all possible, considering where your home is at, right? And again, it's more of it's a curated plan when you're selling your home, and getting your home ready for the market, and so. always my good rule of thumb is always to list prior to Memorial Day. And we also don't want to go live on the market Memorial Day weekend either, because where everybody's at. They're at
Sure.
cookouts, picnics, and on the boat or going down to Florida.
Yeah. So Memorial Day a little bit early this year, right? May 25th, I think it is, rather than the
Yeah.
30th or
So if you think
31st
about
is
it,
when
that's
it usually
60
falls.
days from next week. So within the next two
Man, that's
months.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
This year
that's
is
exciting. So
flying by.
market,
Yeah.
yeah, it is moving quick. We'll talk about the market actual stats in just a second, but I want to put into perspective how much interest rates matter. And I want to tell this story not to toot our own horn here at the Huffaker Group, but just so you can kind of see the seasonal impact and the interest rate. March of 2026 is currently the best month on record we've ever had. When you think about that in a really, I know, right? It's awesome. But you think about that in a really tough market where what has caused that to happen? Look, I know we've got amazing agents and internally, but when we see that type of move in the market, we kind of back up and go, well, rates dropped below 6% in February, right? In early February. And so when we saw that drop, so it's just this indicator of real time in life, what's happening. You read about what happens when interest rates come down. We hear about the psychological impact of a number that's below six, even if it's 5.999. You see the trigger. So that drop in interest rate triggered with the pent up demand and the seasonality from moving from winter to spring. You start to see, I think, we'll close a little over 31 million in real estate this month. And you just go, but I'm saying that because that's the market driving that number for the most part, right? And I mean, again, what we do on a day-to-day really matters, and we're engaged in the community, so we're aware of who's moving. So that probably helps us more than a lot of agents. But as you see that number, we start to look at April and go, well, rates bounced back up above 6, right? I mean, it's really the war in Iran right now having an impact on oil prices, which is driving speculation around inflation, which is giving concern, which raises the 10-year Treasury note, which then impacts the 30-year mortgage. So that's the trickle of information is kind of how it's playing out. So right now, Dana, we're hovering right around 6. I think you said yesterday still had someone get approved for like a 5.
Yeah. So I had, so they, from Friday when they ran it to Monday, it was down 0.125. So, it's just slightly, but we'll take it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, FHA, VA have been in the 5s for a while. It's the conventional 30-year that we're talking about. It's really kind of the benchmark number that we see. And so, again, I think right now, good time to be out. Sellers are pretty reasonable. Year over year, Dana, we know statistically there were a lot less listings this February than in February of 2025. It's down almost 17% in the counties that we track, which I find fascinating, right? I mean, you hear this inventory glut, right, of kind of more homes hitting the market. We see that every winter. And then it does feel like we've had a bigger washout just with the interest rates dropping. And so a lot of listings coming off the market, which are driving the actual number of listings down, number of new under contract up almost 3%. And so just interesting to kind of see average sales price in the county. I mean, again, up $25,000, man. And you keep waiting for when do prices come down? When does affordability get better? That's one that we're going to combat for years to come, I believe.
Yeah. And again, I think you always have to, when you say something like that, I always have to help put that in perspective too, because so many people are like, I'm just going to wait for prices to come down. And we're just not going to see that, right? And if you're selling and buying at the same time, right, you're going to be selling, at the same price you're going to be buying at. So that's really going to be a wash, right?
Yeah.
And so
you may get a home at $20,000 less, but you're going to sell at $20,000 less, right? Or some proportion thereof. Yeah, we talked about on the last podcast, right? I mean, really, there were 3 years in the last 30 where prices actually declined. And again, remember, we're only about 7% above the trend line. So it feels expensive. It always feels expensive, guys, right? If you're thinking about moving, make the move, right? It's what is it? Don't wait and buy real estate and wait, right? If you buy it and you're going to be where you're going to be for more than 2 years, if it's less than 2 years, definitely worth consulting me, Dana, one of our amazing agents, on what makes sense for you. Because that could be, if you're not planning on being there for more than 2 years, that could be a reason not to buy right now.
Yeah, I know I was going to say, I didn't interrupt you, but no, I was going to say, and we have options like that. I don't know. I feel like we don't share our umbrella of services as well as we should. And yet we do have property management company that we work with. We have investors that we work with. So if we needed to look at cash offer programs, if we needed to look at any of those options, As a seller, if it looks like you're going to be in the red, what would it look like to take for you to actually rent that property out? And we'll partner you with our management company, or perhaps we have investors that are looking for rentals, that type of thing. So there's definitely options out there if you have to make that move at that point in time. But it is always worth a strategy session, to really see what the best game plan for you financially moving forward is.
No, that's what really sets us apart as a company, right? At the Huffaker Group, we're there to consult and give you advice on what makes the most sense for you and your timeline and in your situation. And that's not always buying or selling. And what Dana's
Right.
referring to is if it's related to real estate, we do it, right? From commercial
Right.
to investment to building to rentals to property management. The idea, and Dana, you even mentioned this, maybe a good time. If you guys in the public would be interested, we've talked about doing a wealth building class for the consumer, right? For the general public. We do them for agents, we do them for business
Mm-hmm.
professionals. If you'd like to be a part of our wealth building class, in the public and the consumer, right? Drop us a like or shoot us a line. We'd love to put something together where we talk about the benefits of owning and investing in real estate, where we talk about the benefits of strategizing versus financial planning tools, whether you're passive or active in the market, whether you own or whether you rent your portfolio or your stocks and those things, everything all the way from CDs up to private money lending and things like that. I love to teach that class, one of my favorite topics to talk about. So let us know if that's something that would interest
Yeah.
you guys. Happy to put that together. We're hoping to be able to bring that to
Yeah.
the market maybe in April or May.
Yeah. Just something free for the community. So we're community
Yep.
connectors, right, David?
That's you, right? You're the community connector. I'm just the one that pays the bills and keeps the lights on, Dana.
That's right.
No. Okay. So talk to me real quick about what you're actually seeing with the listing. So listing inventory up, down, sideways. What are you experiencing in the market from just your perspective?
Yes. So I mean, I know that we have moved a lot of inventory over the past several weeks, and yet we're also backfilling that inventory, and so we will start to see that inventory surge over the next 2 months, as I already talked about. And yet, right, I like to look at things from a very hyper local perspective. And so, for example, a client that I'm meeting with today, we're looking at inventory around where her home would be priced at. And there's not much competition. So we're going to look at a home today. Of course, it'll be contingent, upon them selling their home. And that's why you want to get out ahead of that too, right? You've got to have a proactive plan. And I always say, like, let's go ahead and get our home ready for the market if you are selling and buying at the same time. I know this is kind of a varied question or more of a complex answer to your question, but at the same time, making sure that we have that strategy in place. And okay, if we have to sell to buy a home, we can make that sale contingent upon you finding your next home, to make sure
Yeah.
that it's a seamless transition. But that's what I'm kind of seeing, those people that are buying and selling at the same time, or perhaps relocating, they're all getting everything ready. Also, any tips or tricks to get your home ready? We have great partnerships around the community that can help service you with that, in addition to myself and our team. So we'll definitely can help you out with that too if you drop us a line.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand the price breaks and where consulting with me or Dana or one of our agents really comes in, because there are price segments where we might not recommend a house to sell contingency versus there are price segments where we would recommend a house to sell contingency.
Right.
There are certain parts of the market that are moving faster than others. And so if you're going to try to go out into a highly active part of the market with a home to sell contingency, that may not be the best opportunity, the best advantage for you, versus if you're in maybe the luxury end, you may have more expectation that that's a part of the process. And so again, just trusting a local expert, whether it's your favorite community expert or somebody here at the Huffaker Group, again, always trusting a professional. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars difference on your biggest, what potentially your biggest investment in your portfolio. And so don't be scared to call us and have a conversation. It's what we're here for, to do that. The thing I want to go back though, when we look at like average active inventory, we are continuing to see months of supply increase. So earlier I said new listings on the market was down, but active inventory is actually up a little bit, right? And so we're seeing there's about 4,900 to 5,000 homes in the 4 counties we track, Davidson, Wilson, Sumner, and Rutherford, active on the market. And that's up a little, up about 500 homes over 2025, February of 2025. So we're kind of reflecting on those numbers with the average number going under contract staying close. It's up just a little bit, but it is giving more days on market, which is giving more months supply, which is really good for buyers and affordability. It's why we probably continue to see it would, we probably only continue to see a 2%. That's the average maybe price increase year over year that the experts would say is going to happen. But you got to think 2% at an average sales price of the 4-county area of $600,000, right,
Yeah.
is still $12,000, right? Over the course of 2 years, still $25,000. And we say that we're up 4% this time last year, and I don't know that we would have thought that. And again, given that's the whole market, Davidson County included, which is a higher, more expensive price point.
And I do think you said yesterday, you said like trajectory, right? The next couple of weeks should be pretty strong with inventory pending.
Yeah, I mean, so again, we track week over week data. We've tracked it both for the MLS and for our local company. That's we're the second largest team in Middle Tennessee, the largest number one team in Wilson County and surrounding counties. And so we can track our data as kind of a subset of the market. And tracking it weekly, we know in real time. So the numbers I'm giving you is from February of 2026. Right now it's March 17th. The numbers that we track weekly are real-time data that we're using internally to make decisions. We do understand, again, we've got these segments of spring breaks here in March. So we kind of see yearly over what happens when that happens, and so we'll see usually a spike this week, right? The third week of March, we'll see a spike in sales. We've seen a good spike in sales because of the interest rates. But then again, as we get into other county spring breaks and then Easter, you do see kind of like this 2-week, I don't want to call it a drop, but it's just a little bit quieter as people kind of deal with the world and their life and things like that. So that kind of brings us, Dana, to the war in Iran and the impact that it's having on the overall real estate market. And I think the longer that the war goes on, the more impact it has. So you think about in 2025, we essentially didn't have a spring, quote unquote, selling season like you would normally see, right? We kind of, rates were high. There was a lot going on in the world. And so it was fairly flat. And we never really recaptured that sales bucket. Again, just more pent up demand being out there. So as we kind of saw coming out hot in February, right, really seeing March closings are going to be really strong based off the data that we have. You kind of go April, May, and June will kind of hinge on how long this plays out, right? As geopolitical impact has on local markets, you're seeing the markets pause. You see the stock markets down over the last 3 weeks. Again, the concern over inflation, we believe that the increase in gas prices, listening to the media, is transitory or isn't probably going to be a long-term impact. But at the short term, it's costing me more money to put gas in my tank. I don't know about you. I'm assuming everybody kind of hitting that point.
Yeah.
So again, is it massive? I looked the other day, it cost me about $13 more to fill up my tank than it did the week prior. So you go like, okay, but that compounds and it just gives more concern. Remember, inflation is the year over year growth in what things cost in summary, right? And so fuel, gas being a part of that. And you take out food and energy and look at the core. But as we look at that inflation number, it's still higher than where it needs to be. You've got a new Fed chair coming in later this year. Again, Fed's deciding on short-term interest rates, which are not mortgage rates, but again, expected to hold steady. And so you see kind of that same piece, Dana, as longer and longer that this war goes on, that will drag on interest rates and potentially bump us back to a 6, 6.25, 6.5, depending on what happens, right? Hopefully by late summer, if the world calms down, which again, when's the last time that happened? If the world calms down,
Sure.
you may start to see some 5.75, right, getting down into that. Guys, we really don't want to see rates any lower than 5.5, 5.75. That's not really healthy for the market. And so you kind of go like, you're close, right? We're within a 0.5 percentage point of really where the healthy market. Again, 6% historically is really healthy. So I wouldn't be deterred by a 6% interest rate in this market. But I know it is out there. A lot of people are very rate conscious because of where prices are. So if you're thinking about moving, I think the bigger thing, Dana, trust an expert, right? Reach out to us. Let us have a conversation with you. Let us have this conversation with you, right? We're having it in broad terms, but the ability to do it one-on-one at a coffee shop or at your kitchen table and curate it specifically to what your needs are and give you advice, we will be the first ones to say like, no, this isn't a good idea or don't do it. A lot of our clients trust us because we're not there to necessarily sell your home right now. We're there to be, what'd you call us? Community connectors, Dana?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Community connectors and consultants that are there, whether you're moving today or whether you're moving 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years from now. We've always said we're going to still be doing real estate. We want to be your realtors for life. So thank you guys for trusting us.
Meet you where you're at.
Number one. That's right. So tell us about what's going on in the community. I know what's happening right now around town.
Well, if you've driven around Wilson County, you know that there is construction everywhere. So
everywhere.
we are going to start being more focused and kind of give a little local kind of business highlight, so to speak, of what's coming on. So be on the lookout for that. But I know that, Sam's just opened, of course, in Lebanon, as you all see.
Oh, did it
Texas
really?
Roadhouse is opening in like 2 weeks. Everybody's really
I
excited
didn't know
about those
Sam's was open.
rolls.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you
But
one
yes.
thing that's coming soon because we just sold the land for it, but the commercial property right
Oh
there
yeah,
on
Hartman.
Hartman Drive, right? We got the new Kia dealership coming in,
Yeah.
right there close to where Main Street and Hartman intersect. And so I don't think anybody knows about that because we just closed on it last week. We'll take some time to develop it. You'll see our sold sign there on the market or on the side of the street, which I think is really cool, right? To have a new dealership coming in there. That land's been for sale for what,
Forever.
forever. So
Not
proud that
always by us, but
no, yeah. The sellers finally reached out to us, and our commercial division got that done. So that was
yeah,
amazing.
that's awesome.
Anything else going on? I know we've got what is it? What's the thing going on tonight?
Oh, everyone's Wilson Gala. So that's
Everyone's
where kind of our local schools and churches and community business leaders seek unity and making sure that everyone feels the love here in Wilson County. And so they've got a dinner this evening that's provided by Wilson Central High School. They've got live music coming from Green Hill High School, and so it should be a delightful evening with everyone. So I think they're looking to host their largest event yet with about 300 people or so.
All right. I'm excited to see you there. Hopefully, everybody wears
Yes.
some green so they don't get pinched.
Yeah, don't forget yours.
All right. See you, Dana.
All right, see ya.